I have this pile of queer books I've been saving for the right moment. We're going to see how many we can read this weekend, because it's now December and I don't want all of these to go through to 2026. I want to read them now. So we have Kickflip, which is a graphic novel. I Can't Even Think Straight by Dean Atta. And They Were Roommates by Rory Powers. Nobody in Particular by Sophie Gonzalez. Rebel Hearts by Tanya Bryan. And Don't Let the Forest In by C.G. Drews. This one I am exceptionally excited to read. I just feel like C.G. Drews is an author for me, and they've got a couple of books out now, so I need to do this one. But yeah, so we're just going to see what I can read this weekend from this lot. It's like midday on Saturday. I'm starting a bit late, but let's see what we can do. I need to tidy up the toys in the living room so we can set up our Christmas tree. So first things first, I'm going to see which of these I can get hold of as an audio so I can start one of them whilst I'm doing that. I feel like this one definitely has an audio. Not too sure on the rest though, so possibly it will be this one, which is the one I'm really excited to get to. It's like forest core horror, which what's not to love. Anyway, wish me luck. My friends, I pressed record before I was organised. I finished it. No, not that one. I finished this one. I finished Kickflip. It is now Sunday night, 6 p.m. on Sunday night. How much have I read? I finished this one. The graphic novel. I'm 1 page into this. About 8 chapters into this. Remember Me yesterday with 6 books. Let's see how many we can read this weekend. Assuming I would read, I don't know, at least 4 of them. Kickflip by L.D. Lapinski and Logan Hannon. We follow Elliot, who is biologically female, so is known as a girl at school. However, Elliot does not feel that the girl terminology properly represents them. And then walking home from school one day, they are at a skate park watching this group of lads skate, and they get called over and invited to join in. And Elliot dresses like this and has short hair and is often called a lesbian because of it by a bully at school. So the skate team assume that Elliot is male, and Elliot doesn't correct them. So then they find themselves kind of living 3 lives. A girl at school, a boy when they're skating, they join the skate team. In the assumption they will be the team will be doing competitions at some point, because that's what they do skate competitions. Elliot has a best friend, Jess, who has been their best friend since childhood, and Elliot worries if they tell Jess how they feel that Jess will judge them or not understand. And the problem is as well, Elliot doesn't fully understand. They just know that they don't identify as a girl or a boy. And then Elliot does speak to their mum about it, and their mum's so good. It's one of those coming out stories where the mum, like the parents, are really helpful and on board. It's short, so it's about identity, finding the confidence / courage to be who you are, be oneself. Elliot eventually settles on kind of non-binary, they them It does say volume 1. I don't know if there will be a second one. It wasn't like a cliffhanger at the end, but there was space for more to be done. There was a budding potential romance. It was really good. The artwork really reminded me of the Adventure Time illustrations in some ways. Not the complete Adventure Time art style, but there were so many things that were just, to me, reminiscent of that style, which I really liked. Felt quite similar, and I liked that. But yeah, this was good. This one we're following Andrew and Thomas. Our primary POV, or the only POV we've had so far, is Andrew, assuming it's just Andrew throughout. But Andrew goes to a boarding school. He has a twin sister, Dove. They're quite different. Andrew's very introverted. He doesn't have many friends. He just kind of wants to write his own stories and just get through boarding school. And Dove is very like type A and has quite a few friends, and yes, so they're quite extroverted, I guess. Thomas is Andrew's best friend, and also Andrew has a massive crush on Thomas, so Andrew feels as though he's in love with Thomas. And Thomas is an artist, and he particularly enjoys kind of dark art, like creepier side of art, like this kind of vibe. And he illustrates Andrew's stories. And when we start, they've just come back to school after the summer holidays, and Andrew's been desperate to see Thomas, and because it's a boarding school, yeah, I think I said that. And Thomas's parents have gone missing like the night before he came back to school. So on their first day back at boarding school, the police come to talk to Thomas about it. There was a lot of blood found in the house. His parents vanished, and Thomas is kind of like their primary suspect, I guess. And that's kind of where we are in this. In this one, I've read one page. One of the girls is going to boarding school, presumably this one, because she's talking about how she's going to school and there'll be actual royalty there. It's the royalty. So yeah, I realised quite a few of these books featured like a boarding school. So obviously this one. And then I was looking to pick up like the other one I was going to read, because I went to my mum's and I was going to take one to physically read there, and I ended up only reading one page. I was going to take this one, and I was like, that's another boarding school one. This is a boarding school one. I decided on this one because I thought a Sapphic relationship, and this was like a gay relationship, so hopefully I wouldn't get any of the storylines mixed up as I went along. But I'm still living out hope. I'm still living out hope. Maybe, we'll see. My friends, firstly, we need to have a laugh at past me who thought I would just stop reading after a weekend. Well done, well done. Right, so we have finished Don't Let the Forest In, and friends, this was as good as I hoped it would be. Do I need to close this? Andrew and Thomas, their relationship, like their friendship and budding romance, it was such a delight to follow. The elements of like the forest and the crazy nature happening, I loved it. And there was this part, can't remember where it was, there was this particular page where I was listening to this and I was like, wait, and I had this realization of where this was going, and my heart just absolutely shattered. And then I had to wait a few chapters to find out if my assumption was correct, just so my heart could shatter all over again when it was confirmed. And I don't want to talk too much about what it is, because I think it's such an important part of the book. But all I'll say is this is a trope, not a trope. This is a storytelling technique that is often used or so poorly done that a lot of people kind of look down on it and consider it to be a negative. And CG Drews, nailed it, did it right. And when I finished, I just kind of had to stare at the wall for a little bit, wondering if I would ever get over this. And then I went straight to put their other book, Hazel Fawn, on my wish list. If that is not purchased for me by Christmas, I will be purchasing that for myself for Christmas. So, and I'm really looking forward to CG Drew's adult book now, which comes out next year, their first adult book. And I think they've got another YA coming out next year as well. The artwork, oh, yes. Not every fairy tale has a happy ending is the tagline, and fucking hell, are they right? Okay, I'm going to do a quick 50% check-in on another book because I have to go pick up my daughter from school. And they were roommates. I haven't forgotten, I'm still reading this. I'm just not at a point that I need to do, like, have much else to say. I mean, I will do a 50% check-in. I'm not 50% yet, but I am at 50% of this one. And don't ask me how I'm juggling these books or, like, what the logic is on how I'm reading these, because there is none. It just is what it is. And They Were Roommates by Paige Powers. So this follows two guys, Charlie and Jasper, who we follow Charlie. He is the character we follow. Don't know why I said that. Charlie is going to an all-boys boarding school, and he sends off a check to get a solo room, but for some reason they never receive it. So he gets roomed with Jasper, and it turns out that he and Jasper met at a summer camp, and they had like a summer camp romance, and Jasper doesn't recognise him. Okay, that was all I know about this, and I was like, okay, weird. And then when I started reading the actual book, I realised I'd missed an important part of the blurb, which is that Charlie is trans. So when they had their summer romance, Charlie was female presenting. It was before he had started his transition. So I can kind of forgive Jasper a little bit for not recognising Charlie. Because when I read that, I was like, whoa, what a player. What a dick that he doesn't recognise his summer romance. It's because Charlie was a female at the time. Which I don't know how I missed that on the blurb when it clearly says that. It would have given me a bit more of an insight. But yeah, and they are kind of so he hates Jasper, and Jasper's got no clue. And Jasper seems like a bit of a golden retriever. I don't really know. I can't really tell what's going on with Jasper. Like he's a published poet. He's well known for being a poet. He's like the sexiest poet of the year. He's won awards. He's got like posters of himself all over the room, and he's just so kind of airheaded and golden retriever. And he's just desperate for Charlie to like him. And Charlie's like, I hate you because you kissed me at summer camp, but you're writing love letters to other girls. But Jasper doesn't know any of this. It's so dumb. And Jasper and some of the other students write love letters, and then they get ferried across to the kind of sister school, which is opposite, so they can write love letters to the girls there. And Jasper ropes Charlie into helping him. But yeah, it's quite funny so far. So there we are. I need to go pick up my daughter. I finished And They Were Roommates. This was so cute. Yeah, so our two characters are just absolutely adorable together. They are the epitome of like golden retriever and black cat, and I kind of love it. So we have Charlie, who is trans, and he's hiding it because this is like a prestigious boarding school that has like its traditions and stuff. It's got a sister school as well, although there's nothing specifically saying he cannot join as a trans boy. It's kind of like presumed that he wouldn't be welcome there, so he's hiding it. And then Jasper is the guy that broke his heart inadvertently, because Jasper doesn't know that the person that he met was Charlie, because Charlie had not transitioned at that point. And then there's loads of like secondary stuff of they are writing love letters that the boys, like the boys' school, guys at their school have sent over to the girls' school. And then they're like little group of friends, their little band of characters are just so cute, and each of them just has such a fun personality as well. I really loved every character in this book, and I feel like it's this weird kind of juxtaposition in that I feel like I don't have anything to say about this book, but I loved it. And it's not like, I'm a big fan of plotless books, and I enjoy vibes. So there'll often be books that I'm like, I loved this, it has no plot. It's not a matter of that. This has plot. It has a lot of plot, in fact. But I just, I can't really vocalize what I enjoyed about it. I just really enjoyed it. And somehow the book just seemed to, it seemed to last forever, but I also feel like I only just started it. I don't know, it's really weird. But overall, I loved this. I love these characters. I love their relationship. This is one of those couples that, like, after the book, I imagine they're still together, you know? I imagine that these two were actually, like, endgame. I don't know. I just feel like they are actually endgame. I imagine that they, after graduation and, like, whatever they did with their lives, I imagine they're still together as adults. And I love that. My God, it was so cute. I can't even cope. I'm like halfway through this one. I'm really confused about the pacing of this book. So we have our princess and our American boarding school girl. She's at this school on a scholarship. She's a princess of the country the school's in. It's in a it's not in a real country. It's in Europe. I can't remember what the country is called now. Henland, I think. It's not a real country, obviously. So Danny's there on a music scholarship. She's a piano player. She has her own like confidence issues surrounding playing live and playing in front of people, because she was bullied at her school in America. So her mum's remarried. Her mum's married a man who lives in Henland, so they've moved there, and she's got into this school. Very prestigious, very impressive. Rosemary is the country's princess, and she's at the same boarding school, so they're in the same year. And it's like quite a wealthy school, and all the kids like know each other. They've grown up together. They're all like in the sphere of political parents. Okay, prior to the book starting, there was a incident the year before in which Rosemary and her friend, who is like the first person Danny makes friends with, Molly. So Molly used to be Rosemary's best friend, and they've had a falling out prior to the start of the book, and Molly's the one that kind of takes Danny under her wing. We find out that their joint friend died of a drugs overdose when they were all out partying, and Molly blames Rosemary for it. And Rosemary, the way she deals with like any stress or emotional issues, not issues, but like over well is she kind of shuts down. Molly's come to the conclusion that Rosemary is like dead inside, but it's not. It's just how she deals with stuff, how she's learned to deal with stuff, because she's constantly being photographed and watched because she is the princess. Anyway, so Rosemary's a lesbian. Danny is, I don't know if she specifically said she's a lesbian, but she is queer. They both have a crush on each other. Rosemary's aware that, and she's told, Rosemary's come out to her parents, who have told her, doesn't matter who you are with in private, but in terms of your outward presenting, you will marry a man and you will give us an heir, basically. Like, this is a secret that you are gay. Danny's only really told her best friend back in America. So we spent quite a while just leading up to like the midway point. I'm just over midway, I'm like 60%, so I would say around 40-45%. The two of them, this is where the pacing is getting confusing for me. The two of them get together. They're together for like 3 chapters, then they break up. There is a reason, and I hope that none of this is too spoilery, and now we're amongst the rest of it, and obviously presumably they come back together. But I just feel like they're together for like 3, maybe 4 max chapters, and it's dual POV, so we get like, we're learning to love them both, but that wasn't enough time with them as a couple for me to care. Like, I do care, but not. Usually the breakup's like the 3rd act breakup, you know, and by that point you've really come to care for the couple. You really want them to get together, and it's like, so you're really like rooting for them. And in this, like, they've literally, I'm sorry about that light, I can't bother to take my glasses off. They've literally been together for a couple of chapters. Like, I think it's literally, it feels as though it's just like 2 weeks or something. And then they break up for reasons, and I think they're like, they're obviously going to come back together and work out a way to be together. And Rosemary can still be princess, because Danny doesn't want to hide who she is, like, long term. Obviously Rosemary has to. Putting that aside, I was only given like glimpses of them as a couple. How am I supposed to root for them? How am I supposed to care? How am I supposed to passionately want to see them reunite when they're like 17-year-olds that have been together for 2 weeks? I know for them that feels like forever, but me as a reader in my mid-30s, like, that's not a relationship that I'm going to root for as a reader. Obviously I think this is a YA, but I don't know, I just feel like I'm confused of the decisions, the pacing. I'm confused at how I'm supposed to really root for them when I feel like I didn't get to really discover them as a couple. But yeah, I mean, I am obviously wondering how they're going to sort this out. It's pretty high stakes. Yeah, but I just had to point out that felt, I was going to say like a weird decision. Maybe not a weird decision. It feels unique and out of the norm, I think. Yeah, we finished Nobody in Particular. Okay, so when I was talking about how I wasn't sure on the pacing and stuff, it came round. So basically, rather than like, because I'm so used to there being like the 3rd act breakup, in this there wasn't. It was like, as I said, the breakup was like at 50% after literally only being together for a couple of chapters, but somehow in those couple of chapters they knew that they loved each other for like forever. And then so the 3rd act was about Princess Rosemary working out she didn't want to live like in the shadows. She didn't want to hide who she was. She didn't want to have to marry a man for like, what's the word I'm looking for like the look, the aesthetics of it kind of thing, and then keep her true kind of sexuality a secret. So the 3rd act was about her grappling with that and working out what she was going to do, and kind of from there. And you know, she does make a point of even if her and Danny, like the two of them, aren't together forever, she still doesn't want to be hiding who she is forever. And so I really loved where this ended up going, and a lot of my issues with it at midpoint were entirely my expectations of what I thought the book would be, or like my expectations of this genre and the kind of plot beats of this genre. But I really loved this. I really liked the characters together. I liked there was like a low-key mystery element of who it was that was leaking things about them to like the press and the palace and making life harder for them. They were both dealing with different forms of trauma, and I just, yeah, and they were really there for each other when they needed to be, so I loved it in the end. So these are the 4 queer books we read for this vlog. There was obviously 2 more that I didn't get round to in this particular vlog, but I will be picking them up as, you know, as and when I can. So I have I Can't Even Think Straight by Dean Atta, and it's a shame I didn't get round to this because it's kind of like prose and like text messaging, so I think it actually would have been quite a not too long a read, but that'll be fun for like next year. And then we have Rebel Hearts by Tanya Bryan, and again I'm very excited about this. So these are going to be ones that go back on my shelves, but I'm looking forward to picking them up. And then the ones we did read, we read Kickflip, which was a graphic novel about a non-binary person. We read Don't Let the Forest In, which is like a dark fantasy horror adjacent book about 2 young boys at a boarding school. We've got And They're Roommates, which follows 2 young boys at a boarding school, but this is more, I would say, more lighter and fluffier compared to Don't Let the Forest In, and this was about like poetry, and our main character, who is a trans boy. And then Nobody in Particular, which was a Sapphic boarding school romance featuring a princess. So it was a nice mixture, really interesting. I'm glad I got these off my TBR, and I'm glad that I enjoyed them as much as I had anticipated I would. So fabulous start to Christmas. Please consider leaving a like, subscribe. I've got 12 days of videos coming, and if you have any recommendations of some queer books I should pick up, particularly YA, I really enjoy queer YA books, let me know in the comments, and I will see you soon for another video. Bye friends.